So I recently did a video on what to do if a client doesn't pay you, but I always am like, oh, there's so much we could do to make sure that this doesn't happen again, right? There are so many little tips and tricks of things that you can put into your online business to try to prevent and stop as many client non-payments as possible. I'm talking bounce payments, failed credit cards, people not responding to you. There's so much we can do, so let's get into it. In case you're new here, I'm Vander, an attorney turned entrepreneur who helps online coaches, course creators, and service providers just like you learn how to legally protect and grow their online businesses using my DIY legal templates and my Ultimate Bundle program. And here on YouTube each week, I share fresh legal tips and business building advice. That's why you're going to want to hit subscribe before we get into what to do if a client doesn't pay you, prevention tips. Okay, so if you watched the video that I'm talking about, and I'll link to it in the description, we can show you what it looks like here, but if you watched that video already, then you know how important a contract is when it comes to making sure that clients don't stiff you on a payment, right? Because if you don't have a contract that has like really clear payment terms and tells you exactly what is owed, when it's owed, how it's paid to you, and what the consequences are of not paying you or not paying you on time, then you're kind of SOL because there's nothing that you can do to enforce anything against a client, right? So text messages aren't going to work, emails aren't going to cut it, and a verbal agreement's not going to do it either. You've got to have something in writing that you're going to be able to enforce. Now, on the prevention side of things, I find that having a clear and consistent client contract can really clear things up when it comes to non-payments. I definitely see this in the recurring subscription space where if somebody purchases a course of yours or a group program and they are on a payment plan and their card bounces or they keep asking for extensions, it is crucial that you have a terms of use at checkout or a client contract if it's a private client or a group coaching program. But it's crucial that you have that language or you will drive yourself insane, right? I literally have an entire person dedicated on my team to just helping customers navigate payments and updating card information, helping with logins, all of that kind of stuff. And she always has to point people back to the terms that they agreed to. That is usually the end of the conversation. So when people ask like, hey, can I have this extension? Or hey, I can't make my payment. Or hey, I don't want to make this payment. She refers back to those terms. And like I said, that's the end of the conversation. It's solid, it's clear, it's in writing, and that helps us prevent a lot of issues. So if you don't have a clear contract, like I mentioned in my last video, that goes over those payment terms, you want to make sure that that's the very first thing you do after watching this video. I, of course, have DIY legal templates for you, and I have my Ultimate Bundle program for you. They're super easy, fill in the blank, 15-minute or less legal docs you can get in place to legally protect your business and get paid. So you can check those out in the description below. The second thing you can do to try to prevent people from not making payments or paying you on time is institute a dunning email sequence. So that's D-U-N-N-I-N-G, dunning email sequence, because that is an automatic email sequence that you can put into place as soon as somebody's payment bounces that will start working on your behalf to collect that payment for you. I often joke that that was like the first person that I hired in my business because one of the first things that I did when my business started to take off and I was processing a lot of payments, is that I use a feature that Samcart has. And I, by the way, love Samcart. I use Samcart for my checkout process for all of my products. I'll put a link below for you to check it out and get a free trial. But I love Samcart, and you can host courses there now too. And they actually have a feature that's available where they allow you, it's called a subscription saver, I think, and it allows you to set up an automatic dunning email sequence directly within Samcart. So what that means is that when someone purchases one of my products and they purchase the Ultimate Bundle on a long-term, I offer like a long-term payment plan when you sign up for my free legal workshop. And, maybe their 8th of their 12th payment gets declined, right? And 99% of the time, it's completely innocent, right? Somebody's credit card got stolen, it expired, they just forgot to update their address, something like that. But with Samcart, what it allows me to do is set up those emails. So as soon as Samcart gets the notification that somebody's card has been declined, it immediately sends the customer email number 1 of my 4 email sequence, letting them know that their card has been declined and just politely asking them to update it. Then those emails progressively get a little bit more serious and a little bit more specific, reminding them about what the terms were in their contract. that they agreed to when they purchased the product, and letting them know what the next steps will be, including removal and lack of access. So it's very, very important that you use dunning emails to your advantage, especially when you're taking subscription payments or recurring payments of any sort. It's just a no-brainer of something automatic that you can set up in your own business. And it's almost like a little VA or an assistant out there working for you to try to collect these payments. I don't even know when these emails are going out. They just go out. And like I said, most of the customers actually use those emails to just go ahead, update their card details, and then have the payment successfully go through. The third thing you can do to try to prevent client non-payments is allowing your clients to use PayPal credit to pay over time instead of you offering a pay over time option. So for example, if you charge $5,000 for your program, or you typically allowed people to pay you in 5 installments of $1,000 payments, you could actually instead allow them to apply for PayPal credit, which is where they pay PayPal a pay plan, but you get paid up front, right? So as the creator, you would get that $5,000 up front, and then they would only be interacting with PayPal to make those payments over time. Now, this does act as sort of a little loan finance situation. So you want to be very clear and upfront about that they would be, applying for that. They have to get approved for it. It may impact their credit, all of that kind of stuff. But it's just an option that's available that I know some people take so that you as the business owner aren't essentially financing it for them, which is essentially what you're doing when you give somebody full access to something, but you allow them to pay over time. It's just a choice that you can make as a business owner, but I want to let you know that that's available to you. Number 4 is a must. You must disable self-cancellation on payments on whatever payment processing software that you use. So if you use something like Samcart or Stripe or something like that, you want to contact them and make sure that you can ask how you disable self-cancellation. What that means is that your customers can't go in and cancel their recurring payments. That is really important when you take installment payments for something. So something where you're just giving somebody the opportunity to pay over 6 months or 12 months. I'm not talking about a subscription payment where people are allowed to cancel, right? Like a month over month. That's different. And I think using the self-cancellation feature for that is great and really convenient. And that will cut down on your admin time. But I'm talking to those of you who are allowing people to pay over time. Some of these softwares are a little tricky, and I know that Samcart gives you the ability to say that customers are not allowed to disable their own payment plan. So that's really important, and another +1 for Samcart. The 5th thing you can do is enable heads up notices on whatever payment processing system that you use. So this is where the customer will get a notification. You've probably gotten these before, a few days in advance of their card being charged to let them know that the card is going to be charged and for what amount, and reminding them what it's for. I find that those are really helpful because that will also catch the attention of somebody who's like, oh, I just updated my card. I realize I haven't updated my card in Sam's system. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So once I enabled that, I actually saw a lot fewer bounce payments as well. And the 6th and final thing you can do to try to prevent future non-payments is to create an SOP, a standard operating procedure for your own business. Basically, that's just a Google Doc, a Word doc, where you literally lay out step by step what the steps are to collecting payment in your business. I want you to start this now, even if you just work for yourself. As you start to bring on team members, this document's going to get more and more involved. But for right now, just creating a system and a little bit of like, when this happens, then here are the steps that we take in my business to try to collect payment, right? You maybe send it to a collections attorney. If you watched my last video, you know what I'm talking about. Or maybe you send them an email. Whatever email you send them, turn it into an email template and build it into that SOP so that you're not reinventing the wheel every single time you reach out. I'm telling you, you might not feel like it now, but your business will grow quickly, and all of a sudden these things will take up too much time, and you're going to want to spend your time on other much more fun stuff. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if it was helpful. If you haven't watched the video yet on what to do if a client doesn't pay you, like the exact steps to take afterwards, make sure you go back and watch that video. And as always, I want to encourage you to go watch my free legal workshop, 5 steps to legally protect and grow your online business, because that's where I'm going to teach you how to use these contracts to your advantage to legally protect yourself and try to make sure that this doesn't happen in your business as much as you can. With that, make sure you hit subscribe on the way out, and I'll see you next week.